Greetings, friends. My name is James Mason, and I'm a lay member of Wells Memorial United Methodist Church in Jackson. I also work part-time for the conference, and I work part-time for the East Jackson District as a ministry coordinator and district secretary. I also serve in an ex officio role for the task force. What I want to do today is to quickly orient you to the work of the task force with its purpose and the past work that has been taking place. Bishop Swanson established a task force in August of 2021, and the task force was charged with answering two important questions. What do churches and pastors most need from their district offices and district superintendents, and what does that structure need to look like in the future? Our context is that our current 11 district configuration has remained essentially unchanged for over 30 years, despite the fact that we have had a decrease of about 32% in our number of churches in the Mississippi Conference. The decision-making authority for any changes that takes place is shared by you, the annual conference, and the cabinet. The annual conference determines the number of districts that we have, and the cabinet, which is made up of the DSs and 2 senior staff members on the conference staff, they determine how the districts are supervised and what the district boundaries are. The anticipated end state after all of these past and future months of study, prayer, and discernment will be to bring any recommendations to the 2023 session of the Mississippi Annual Conference next year. Any recommendations are anticipated to be provided by the end of this year so that there's adequate time to discuss, review, and perfect those recommendations. In addition to the large amount of work and self-study that has gone in, this task force is listening to you. Their work is deeply informed by the more than 600 surveys that were recently completed by you as well as laity across the conference. There were also targeted surveys with conference and district staff and a large number of current, past, and retired district superintendents as well. Finally, we invite you to continue to submit your feedback and input. You can do that in one of 2 ways. The tellers are available down to you with index cards where you can provide some written feedback, or you can use the link that you see displayed on the screen or in the guidebook app message section where you can access it as well.
Hello, my name is Vera Thomas. Located in the historic community of Turkey Creek in Gulfport, Mississippi, is Mount Pleasant United Methodist Church, where I am a member and serve in several capacities, among which is lay leader. And I am honored to serve as lay leader for the Seashore District. It is my privilege to provide you with this brief update regarding the work of the District Realignment Task Force from a lay perspective. I would first like to thank the bishop, cabinet, and those who recommended the inclusion of lay persons for this task force. We appreciate the opportunity to be the voice of the laity in this process, and we want all to know that it is not an assignment taken lightly. From the very beginning of the Methodist Church, laypersons have represented the church along with the clergy. We serve and cover our churches in many capacities. For this task force, our research, voice, and collaborative efforts are presented as one. The laity members of this team are Donna Barria, layperson, Cheryl Denley, District Secretary, Sandra Raspberry, layperson and spouse of former District Superintendent, Andrew Richardson, layperson, and yours truly. Our ex officio lay members are James Mason, layperson and conference facilitator, LaToya Red Thompson, conference lay leader, and David Stotts, layperson, conference treasurer, and chief benefits officer. Having lay representation on this task force lets us know that our opinions are valued and important to you. Thank you. To our conference attendees, lay and clergy delegates, staff, and other church representatives, we want you to know that your opinion truly matters. We asked and you responded. Through our surveys and requests for input, you continue to inform the work of this team. We hear you and we appreciate your responses. Laity wants adequate representation from their staff, pastor-parish relations committees, to their district superintendents. Some think district superintendents are not needed, while others think part-time and local pastors need more support from their district superintendents. And some small churches would like to see their district superintendents. It is now our responsibility to evaluate your responses to assist us in making the best informed recommendation. While our work continues, some of you may be aware that the Cabinet has already taken temporary steps of restructuring two districts. They are Greenwood and Hattiesburg. The district lay leaders will remain in place, and the responsibilities of the district superintendent in Greenwood are now being assumed by Senatobia, Starkville, and West Jackson district superintendents. Likewise, in Hattiesburg, the district superintendent's responsibilities are now being assumed by Brookhaven, East Jackson, Meridian, and the Seashore district superintendents. The task force hopes to obtain valuable information from these temporary assignments to also inform our work. We solicit your prayers of support as our task force works toward presenting the best informed recommendation. Thank you.
I'm Emily Sanford, pastor of Wesley United Methodist Church in Tupelo, Mississippi. And it's been my joy to serve on the district realignment team this past year as one of the clergy members, alongside Reverend Dr. Stephen Cook, who is the Dean of the Cabinet, as well as the West Jackson District Superintendent, Reverend Paulette Buford James, who's the District Superintendent for the Starkville District, Reverend Smith Lilly, who is an Associate Pastor at Tupelo First United Methodist Church, and also the Reverend Mike Hicks, who is a retired clergy, but also a former district superintendent. And as we continue this work, I want to help you know that this is something that is not unprecedented, that even if we change and reduce the number of districts, that the actual number of churches and charges served by a district superintendent could be very similar to years past. We've been able to glean in our research from other conferences who have undertaken this kind of right sizing for their number of districts and the expectations of how those districts would operate to allow for more mission and ministry on the local level. Of the 14 conferences that are in the Southeastern jurisdiction, for instance, at least 9 have made reductions in recent years in the number of districts. And 2 of our conferences merged to form the Tennessee Western Kentucky Conference. And we also have to look at some of the different factors that vary from district to district in terms of the number of charges, number of local pastors, the budgets, the properties, average worship attendances. All of those factors are things that we are considering, and we're going to be taking a deep dive into your responses from the recent surveys of clergy and laity, conference and district staff, as well as our current and former district superintendents. Of course, we're all adjusting to the changing landscape of ministry, and so we ask for your deep discernment and prayer as we consider what is the right structure for the Mississippi Conference in this next season, and how we might look for support in a sustainable way to best fulfill our mission to make disciples of Jesus Christ. And so we are going to continue to provide information to you in the days ahead and keep you informed each step of this journey.